Welcome to this week's Comics from the Future. I'm Jason, this is Andy. We both work at Infinity Flux Comics in lovely Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we are here every week to show you the latest and greatest upcoming comics when they are still open order, meaning you can order them as many as you want at cover price. Starting Monday, all stores' orders have to get locked in.
Mhm.
And so that's why watching the show gives you the chance to just get what you want and hear from us, and we'll tell you what's important and why. It's a very light week. There is no Marvel this week. Usually around Christmas time, Marvel will ship 2 weeks together and they'll
Yeah.
take a week off. And I guess that's 3 weeks out from today because we mostly talk about comics 3 weeks out.
hmm
So no Marvel, but what we have done is Andy has prepared a great little presentation on Future State.
Yeah, something I feel like people need to, they don't completely understand what it is. So we're going to go over kind of, before we have to place our orders, which will be next week, just a little bit of extra information.
I think a lot of people are going to be caught kind of sleeping on Future State,
hmm
and we're going to get a lot of people missing the boat on first appearances, new
hmm
characters. I've said from the beginning, I think the whole idea is very interesting,
hmm
particularly because it's just a little departure. I mean, Marvel all the time, they're doing King and Black. They're going to have King and Black tie-ins in every
hmm
book for the next 2 months. Nobody gets mad about that. So why can't DC
Yeah.
do something that is akin to that? But I mean, even more so, a little more risky.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, let's get to some of it then.
So Future State will be going on for January and February. So what's going to happen is your main titles will be put on hold for that time. So we know Batman comes back in March. Have to sneeze. Okay, I'm good. Yep, I'm good now. So I even read a little preview thing about Batman. It comes back, I believe, March 3rd. All of your normal titles will resume. The ones that are resuming, we know that Aquaman is ending, Harley Quinn, Batgirl,
Suicide Squad just
Suicide
ended.
Squad. Now we don't know because we haven't got the solicitations for March. What new number ones or whatever we'll be getting, but we should find out about that soon. But in the meantime, DC is going to be doing Future State. Uh, some stuff that people may not know. So this is interesting because it takes a leap forward. Thank you, Lauren. Uh, and it actually has a big timeline. So the whole series takes place between the years 2025, so pretty soon,
Okay.
just within like 4 years, and the year 82,020 plus, because there's a Wonder
Legion or something.
that the one that's actually listed for that is Black Adam, which is really
Interesting.
interesting. And then there's one that says at the end of time, which is Immortal Wonder Woman. But today I wanted to go over some of the ones that we're really excited about that we think are definitely ones people are going to want to make sure that they get on early and know a little bit about it. So if we'll move on to the first one,
Okay.
we have
Yeah, this is a big
Wonder
one.
Woman, which I think could be the biggest one out of all of them. I mean, from our perspective right now, from what we know. So this is a new character. There's been some speculation if we've seen her as a small child in Wonder Woman Annual number
Annual
4.
4. Yeah.
That hasn't been confirmed. That's just a speculation. But even if that was, that's just a cameo. So her first full appearance should be in this Wonder Woman number 1. This is a two-part series. It's only 2 issues. And the main Wonder Woman is Yara Flor, who is a Brazilian Wonder Woman. And her series takes place in, I believe hers is, let's see, 2040. So
Okay.
hers is a little bit further in the
So
future.
20 years out there.
Yeah. Um, so there's going to also be a Justice League book, a Superman Wonder Woman book, and that's going to be with her as the lead Wonder Woman.
I have to say, if it's 20 years out, that would maybe make sense for her being the little girl at the end of the
Right,
annual.
yeah.
The age at least lines
I
up.
thought it was interesting because I thought a lot of these took place sooner.
Right.
but they're really spread out. And why we are really thinking this one's going to be hot is we know DC has announced that Joelle Jones, who is doing these two issues, writing and drawing, who's worked on Catwoman in the past, will be doing an ongoing series of this Wonder Woman, Yara Flor, I believe beginning in March, if not soon after, but she is getting her own ongoing series,
Wow.
which is going to be part of DC's new, um, what do they call it, omniversal way of doing comics, which is like we can have a whole Wonder Woman series that has nothing to do with the current continuity. We can continue this Wonder Woman story from here, and it's not going to constantly, well, how does this fit in with what's going on?
Right.
So that's going to be kind of their new idea going forward after this event. But the other big news about this is this Wonder Woman is getting her own CW Arrowverse TV show.
That's crazy. She's already so famous and hasn't had her
We
first
don't even
full
know
appearance.
hardly anything about her, and we already know she's getting a TV show, which is actually going to be called Wonder Girl. So it's going to be interesting if they do stick with that time period. Like, is this still going to be in the future, or is she going to be kind of taking the place of like Cassie and being like a current Wonder Woman's sidekick or whatever? But so yeah, really looking forward to this. I think this is gonna be really hot because it is a new Wonder Woman. Makes me feel a lot of like when Marvel brought in Miles and brought in Camilla Khan and brought in like this next generation of
Yeah.
heroes that now, kids now are like that's the current heroes.
Also, there just have not been many characters to ever wear the mantle of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that's definitely smaller than Batman or
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah, a character from the golden era of
Mhm.
comics. So I mean, that's why it's just a huge deal, and I hope it's her first appearance because I'm gonna get a bunch of it.
Yeah.
I like the new way they're writing her title. That's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Very different.
And then next we have the beautiful Jenny Frison variant cover. Frison is doing variant covers for both issues that are incredible. So another reason to get on this and get both covers, get everything, because I think this is gonna be really awesome.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a dragon.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of an invisible jet, she may have a flying dragon.
We-
She looks chummy with that thing, right?
Yeah, we know a little bit about her maybe going to Hades
Huh.
and looking for someone there or whatever. We don't know a whole lot of details, but it seems like she still has a lot of the mythological elements to her.
Mm.
And then next, I just put in, you can see some of Joelle Jones' art. It's a little small right here, but you can go on. There's some preview pages. And if you got the DC Future State book, you've got these preview pages in here. So very cool layouts in this. Joelle Jones is a great artist. We see a dragon right there. So definitely going to be a really cool new series and a new character to, if you want to follow a new character, this is a perfect place to jump on board and get everything with her in it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
next up,
we have the next Batman, which I'm sure is going to be one of the ones that most people are going to get on board for. There has been rumors about who this next Batman is. They haven't officially announced, but we know the writer kind of hinted at it could be Luke Fox. Which,
I was going to ask you if that's been
yeah,
confirmed.
it hasn't been confirmed, but it's pretty.
Everyone's acting like
everyone's
it is.
acting like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a shocker if it wasn't. But this actually takes place in 2025, so this is
Okay.
the
Only 5
earliest
years out
one.
there. Only 5 years out there, right?
Yeah,
Huh.
where the hints that we've seen, which I think is interesting in some of the latest Detective Comics issues, where Gotham and the people of Gotham really want to shut down people wearing masks. This is the natural progression of that. So we're already seeing hints of that kind of mindset of we don't want any of these superpower people. Well, now we have this Batman who is kind of working off the grid. It's not Bruce Wayne. And they said he also doesn't use as much technology because this is now a Gotham that has a lot of facial recognition software, a lot of tech to like that can pinpoint you using technology. So he's pulled back from that, and he's a little bit more street level, a little bit more stealth type thing.
I like how the rooftops 5 years from now in Gotham are going to look like PlayStation controller
Oh
buttons.
yeah, yeah. There's a
Like,
circle one. There's gonna be an
yeah,
X
yeah,
one or
his wing
whatever.
is hiding the X one. We just can't see
Yeah.
that.
This is actually going to also be a 4 issue series. Um, and what's interesting about it too is the stories in it will be Outsiders, Arkham Knights, Batgirls, and Gotham City Sirens will also be in it. So it's going to be a little bit extra sized, but you get all of those stories in it.
Okay. So it sounds like probably a bunch of more first appearances of updated teams
Yes,
5 years from now.
definitely, definitely.
So
Next, I wanted to talk about Dark Detective. This is actually a lot of people have been like, "Oh, they killed Bruce Wayne." No, Bruce Wayne clearly is right here. He kind of gets forced out of the position or decides to take a step back, work a little bit more underground, um, and let the new Batman kind of take over. So he's doing some more detective work, um, a little bit more street level type stuff.
so I'm guessing his book is also 2025.
Yes, and in Dark Detective, we have he's on the run from this kind of the magistrate, which is what's going to be the big villain in this time period. And he also has in this, we have 3 stories. So it's this one about Bruce Wayne. There's also Grifters, and Red Hood will be in this as well. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about Superman Worlds of War, which I just think looks really cool. And it is basically going to be DC's version of Planet Hulk, but with Superman being stranded on War World. And it says he teams up with some unexpected allies. So I'm really wondering if we maybe see some new characters or some characters in a new way we haven't seen. And this one, I believe, is only 2 issues long.
Do you know what year that's going on in?
It takes place in 2030, so kind of between those two.
Okay, but he could have been missing longer than that. Because typically, a lot of times when DC wants to really flip it on the DC
Yeah,
universe, they're like, "Well, let's get Superman away for a minute."
yeah, and his son Jonathan Kent is Superman
Right.
on Earth. So, and Supergirl is now the Superwoman of the Moon.
Hmm.
So I thought that sounded really interesting. And along with that, there's some really awesome variant covers, which I feel like look very much like Savage Sword
I
of
was gonna
Conan.
say very Conan vibe right there.
And this is Mikhail Janin or Yanin or however you say his name, who worked on Batman for a long time, then Wonder Woman. He's doing the art of this book. So super, super cool. Really excited about this future state stuff, but we will be talking about it more, a lot more next week because there's only 2 months, but there's a lot of titles. There's a
Yeah.
lot coming out each week, so you'll definitely want to look into it. Watch our show next week, where we're going to go over, I guess, pretty much all of them. We
I
have
know. I we will.
to
Yeah.
inform everybody of everything. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that is my little bit about Future State. I'm really excited about it. I really hope people give it a chance because your normal titles will be coming back in March. So this could be either at the best, we get a whole new slew of new characters and breakout hits, and at the worst, this is just a fun
A
Elseworld
little
stories, a
departure.
little
Yeah.
departure, kind of a palate cleanser before we jump back into post Joker War Batman and whatever's going to be going on with Superman now that Bendis has left. So,
Yeah, one other thing to know is a lot of the future state stuff is being written by new writers and artists.
mhm.
So we think DC is sort of sourcing some new talent.
Yeah,
And I mean, that's exciting as well. So,
right. Now that, used to they pulled a lot from like Vertigo and everything like that, they don't have that anymore. But we know like some of the writers of this have done some of the short stories and some of their anthologies. Now they're giving them a little bit bigger of a platform to tell stories. So I think we could see the next Tom King or Scott Snyder or one of those come out of here, because that's kind of where they got their start, was in smaller titles, limited series.
yep. And so even though our orders aren't due for this future state stuff yet, we just thought there's so much of it we talk about this week since there is no Marvel to discuss.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now we're going to get to the comics that are actually on order for this week. That'll be coming out 3 weeks from today, or from this Wednesday roughly. The first one, staying with DC, is Batman Annual number 5. So this promises to reveal the origin of Clown Hunter.
Mm.
Clown Hunter was a real breakout character during Joker War.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, when they started Clown Hunter, I was like, he's cool, but he's going to end up getting sent back to school or back to the orphanage or whatever. It didn't happen. I mean, he is still making waves. I think the fans really liked him. I think James Tynion has decided we're keeping him around, and thus the whole annual is dedicated to who is he. His parents, he claims, were killed by the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get to see how that went down. And the art is being done by James Stokoe, who does a lot of. I mean, he's an awesome artist. He does a lot of art everywhere, but a lot of times they reserve him for covers.
Yeah.
So pretty excited about that. So I think everyone who even halfway likes Batman's already on the title.
Yeah.
But still,
we wanted to point it out because it is an annual, but it's by the series writer,
Yes.
so it's not a throwaway issue. It's almost a bonus issue, or this maybe wouldn't work in the main series, but we do want to explore his backstory, which I think he's a very sympathetic character.
Yep.
Especially in recent Batman issues, when you realize kind of what he's been through. I'm excited that we get a whole issue kind of dedicated to what is his deal. Like, in the long term, we know he hates clowns, but what does that actually mean for him?
And here we have the variant by In-hyuk Lee. So with annuals, they shake up the team a little bit. So don't jump out of your seat. It's not a Lee Bermejo variant. They have him working on Future State this week. I'm sure he'll be back for the next one, but I think it's still a very cool variant.
Yeah, he looks Batman square in the eye. That takes a lot of guts.
Yep.
So next up we have a really interesting book. So this is Generation Shattered. And this is a $9.99, 80-page one-shot. Now it's called a one-shot. There is going to be another one called Generations Forged, I believe is what it's called. I'm not sure when that is coming out. But if you read Detective Comics 1027, the big, oversized issue of Detective Comics, there was a story in it where the original version of Batman, purple gloves and all, something happened to him. I believe Booster Gold popped out of a portal. He was in like an art gallery. Well, this picks up from that story. And from what I can tell, this was originally supposed to be an introduction when basically Future State was called 5G, and it was supposed to be like a year-long thing.
Pretty ongoing thing.
This was supposed to be that intermediate issue that kind of got you ready for all of that. So it's no longer that because Future State has now replaced 5G and everything. But this still seems like it has something to do with that idea of generations and the history of DC Universe, which they're promising everything matters, all the history of it. So this takes the original Batman, like 1939 Batman, and takes Kamandi, Starfire, Sinestro, Steel, Booster Gold, Dr. Light, the original Superboy. So Clark Kent as a kid, like when he joined the Legion of Superheroes, that version. There's Wave Rider in there, if you know about Wave Rider.
Yeah, I haven't thought about Wave Rider in some
time. Well, this is co-written by Dan Jurgens, who's the creator of Wave Rider and Booster Gold.
Right.
And I didn't read the entire preview of this, and it was also only in black and white, but I did get to kind of skim through it. This is a very whirlwind. If you like the TV show Legends of Tomorrow, very much feels like that, where they are going through different times, running into different people, being chased by villains through different times, but also just a celebration of like all of these generations of heroes matter. You can see on there Sinestro. It's Sinestro before he became Yellow Lantern Sinestro.
Right.
Old Batman. Kamandi, who's actually from the distant future, everything. So this is, like I said, a $9.99 one-shot. But from what I could tell, it seems like it still has some hints of this matters and this has its place, especially that we know there's another one,
Hmm.
um, Forge, which I'm wondering if that is going to be the one that kind of you have to shatter, so you have all the pieces in the Forge is going to put them back together where we understand what all of these characters and all these timelines mean together.
Hmm.
So it looks really good. A couple different artists, a couple different writers. I think three writers, but seems really interesting. I'm excited to read the full thing, sit down and read it because it's long, but it looks really good.
And we've got,
Lee Bermejo, that's what he was doing.
yep,
We were talking. It's cool to see him doing. Yes, Batman's on there, but see him doing Commundi and Booster Gold and Starfire. It's cool to see him a different take. And this is our share prize for this week.
that is true. So the next one is Jonah Hex #1. So this is her first solo story.
Mm-hmm.
It says it right there at the bottom, from the pages of Young Justice. She's not with Young Justice for this.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there's a new villain called Three-Eyed Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope he has three eyes because I have not seen a picture of him yet. And let's hope they're all on his face. Um, but he takes her town, like she goes back home, he takes her town and puts her town back in the Wild West.
Oh, cool.
So she has to deal with him. She has to deal with that. So she's been sort of a popular character
Mm-hmm.
ever since being in Young Justice. So if you're interested to see her in her own solo story, that's what this is.
Yeah, we also see she's sitting on that crate, and we know that she has this crate that she carries around that was given to her, been passed down her family since her great great grandfather, how many it goes back, Jonah Hex, and all these weird artifacts that he had gotten over time with all of his adventures, and she dearly guards that.
Hmm.
And we haven't quite seen what's inside of it yet, so it's cool that they're kind of hinting at, what kind of secrets did Jonah Hex acquire?
Hopefully, there's at least one Gatling gun in there.
The Old West Gatling gun, yeah,
That was the
with the
climax
crank
of Django. Yep. What's in the coffin, Django? Let me show you.
Next up, we have, since no Marvel stuff, we have an independent book, and this is called "The Picture of Everything Else" or "Picture of Everything Else." So this is from Vault Comics, and it seems really interesting. It's the dawn of the 20th century, and the kind of art boom that came with the 20th century is breaking out. Well, suddenly there's been murders of all of these rich, um, fancy royalty and everything in a city, and two art thieves stumble upon paintings of those people who've been killed, and their paintings have been messed with or whatever in the same way that the people were killed. Well, that sounds familiar. The painter of the picture of Dorian Gray is back, and he has some crazy plans, kind of world domination plans. So this looked really interesting. It's from the same writer as Coffin Bound, and a new artist I didn't recognize, but it seems like a really cool concept about this. Like I haven't seen the picture of Dorian Gray expanded in any way, not like Frankenstein or Dracula or any
Right.
of those. Um, so I believe it's a mini series. I don't believe it's an ongoing. Usually Vault does 4 or 5
Yeah.
issue minis, and then occasionally, if they're popular enough, they'll bring them back for a few more.
Yep.
But there's a couple of variant covers for this. Next is the Gooden uh, variant cover.
Sort of Jack the Ripper.
It is very Jack the Ripper or Sweeney Todd or
Yeah.
something. And then there is the Gorham variant, which you can kind of see there, the slash through a painting or something. So
Okay, so now we're going to go through other cool covers and issue #1s that are available for order this week. The first one is Justice League Endless Winter #2. This is the Warren Johnson variant.
Yeah, so this is the Endless Winter story is bookended by these Justice League Endless Winter, and this is the last part of that story. Plus, I just love Daniel Warren Johnson's art. It's
Yeah,
just so extreme. Next up, we have Spawn 313, and they've been killing it with the Spawn covers.
I know.
And it's exciting every time to see what kind of craziness they do with it. So this one is the Burns uh, variant cover where we see Violator dressed up as Santa, just really creepy looking. And then we have the Capullo and McFarlane cover, which is actually the first appearance of this new Plague Spawn. Going to be a new Spawn adversary. Thought that one looks really cool.
And so this is the cover for, let's see if you can guess it. If you notice the symbol towards the
Yeah.
top, you probably can. It's Department of Truth #4. This is the Moore variant.
Yeah.
This is the B cover.
The Tradmore variant, which,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little complex to see right here, but if you look at a close-up picture of it, it has all of his just awesome patterns and everything that he does.
I think Tradmore just stares at tons of Salvador Dali pictures and does a bunch
It's
of
like,
drugs
what if
and just goes to
Dali
town
did
on
comics?
covers. So yeah, his art, it's fun though, and when it's
Mhm.
paired with the right writer, it's
Yeah.
really really effective.
Next, we have Ice Cream Man 22. And I thought this was fun because for being right at Christmas, I didn't see too many Christmas themed comics other than like Endless Winter and stuff. But I thought this Ice Cream Man advent calendar was really
Yes.
cool with like a centipede coming out of one of the days and really cool. I love holiday themed covers.
So everyone around here knows I like Ice Cream Man a lot. I've been reading it since the beginning, but please don't send me a real Ice Cream Man advent calendar.
Oh my gosh,
I don't want to know what's behind all the doors.
every day you just dread opening it. What kind of horror will come out of it?
Yeah. Okay, so this is Star Wars Smugglers Run. Star Wars Adventures Smugglers Run #1, which is a new two-part series with obviously Han Solo and Chewbacca,
Yeah.
the most famous smugglers.
Did you notice who is writing this?
I did not know.
Greg Rucka is
Okay.
writing this. So really interesting to see Greg Rucka, famous writer of Punisher and Captain America and everything, working on this kind of all ages Star Wars book. And I think it's semi related to the theme park ride Smugglers Run. So kind of the story behind that. But I thought this was really cool.
Yeah, it looks very neat.
And then next, this is just a reminder, if you picked up Sea of Sorrows #1, this is issue #2. A lot of people started calling in and everything once we started talking about Sea of Sorrows. People were really excited about it. So definitely, if you enjoyed #1, we may have 1 or 2 copies left. I'm sure it's going to another printing, but want to make sure you're on the series.
They are not afraid to use a lot of black in
No,
their art.
that poor printer.
Okay, so this is Dune House Atreides #2. Or I'm sorry, #3. This is the A cover with the sandworm.
Yeah.
Yep, protecting his spice.
Really cool cover, and just another reminder of this is a 12-part series, so this is still early enough to jump on board if you want to read the entire thing.
Yep.
And finally, we talk about some hardcovers and some trade paperbacks that are coming out, and just wanted to note that this is Batman Volume 2, The Joker War. So they've been doing the Tynan Batman series in these hardcovers. Really nice, and if you want to read the whole thing put together, this is it.
How much do they usually go for? Like usually $30.
I think it's about 30. Yeah. I believe it just has the Batman issues, but they also tend to include some of the one shots so it probably has the the one with like Batgirl and all of that in it too. So.
All right, so we know it's a little bit of a small show this week because of Marvel Comics taking a few weeks off from now, so they don't have anything they're soliciting early. But we think we filled in the time well with Andy doing all the research on Future
With my
State.
yapping.
Yeah, so that's it for this week. We hope we have helped educate you
Hmm.
and shown you some new things you didn't know. We all sort of read separate things, so I always hear something from you I didn't
Yeah,
know, and I try to chime in with things as well. So
I just bought the first trade of Ice Cream Man because of hearing you and Megan talk about it so much, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read it. So
read it late at night when you're in a really good mood and you're just like, oh, I'm so ready to go to bed. Today's been great.
you read it, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. Ice Cream Man's neat because if you don't like one, the next one's so
Yeah,
different,
yeah.
really. So,
Well,
um,
definitely tune in next week. That's when all of the future state stuff drops. We'll be going over all of it.
mm,
There's a lot. I know for the next Batman, there's a Jim Lee variant that has not been revealed yet. Um, so we haven't even gotten all the covers yet. So that should be really, really cool.
yep. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Whether you watch this with us live or you watch it later, we post this up on Facebook, on YouTube. We just try to get this information out there. We really do appreciate it. We will be back with Megan next week. So
She promised she'd be here.
yeah, don't send us hate mail. Don't send us. Don't flame us because Megan isn't here. She'll be back next week. We promise. So until then, have a great day and thanks for being with us.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.